Shot. Shot. 3:30.
Kimmy, can you set that? Make sure that's right, please. So we can.
It's set.
Shalom, family.
Shalom.
Giving all honor and praises to the Most High King of all creation. Asking that He will guide my mind, my spirit, my body, my language, and my speech as I approach unto you, His people. May the Most High be praised. Anybody want to go to sleep? Go to sleep now.
Okay. All right.
If you can't hang, because I don't want you embarrassing me, you got my teacher, you're going to start snoring. I want to first congratulate y'all finally for doing such a wonderful job. I really think it's a good thing. It's a positive look toward our future when our young men can get up here and teach with some wisdom. You know what I mean? Teach with a form of intelligence. I think that's very important. Because you know, a lot of people can go through that book and think you can understand nothing that they're talking about. Most importantly, what I want to congratulate him on was a thing that a lot of people don't do. And that's admit when they don't understand something. That was a major move. When you said that, it touched my heart. The reason why it touched my heart, not that you didn't know, but most grown folks today will not admit that they don't understand something. They'll make up something and justify something and just say, hey, that's what it is. But what you did was you said, yo, I don't understand that part, and you looked out to the people to help you, to give you the understanding. That was a wise move. May the Most High continue to bless you. Keep up the good work. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Last week we talked about a man called Balaam. Y'all remember the story of Balaam?
Okay.
And we talked about a little bit of the history of Israel from the past, the present, and what's going to take place in our future. Well, I want to finish up on Balaam. I want to finish the 25th chapter of the book of Numbers. I want to get that a little bit completed. Is something wrong with that camera? Or something wrong with
No,
this thing?
it's that.
Might be because I got it wrong. I don't know. So we want to finish up on the 25th chapter of Balaam. Now, just a brief summary.
Numbers?
25th chapter of Numbers. Thank you. See how they grabbed that and caught that real quick? You didn't even tell me nothing. You ain't say nothing. You gonna say that ain't right? You the closest to me. You're supposed to stand right there. You're supposed to be like, yo, straighten that up. Now, what's happening in the book of Numbers is that the children of Israel were in the wilderness traveling to the promised land. And they had just got finished killing down a whole great nation of people. And the king of what was that man's name? Balak. King of Balak. His name was Balak. He had saw and he had heard what the Creator had allowed the children of Israel to defeat their enemies. So he became afraid. So what he went and did, he went and got a prophet named Balaam to try to curse the children of Israel. He tried to curse the children of Israel. But every time Balaam went out and saw a different dispensation of our advancement toward righteousness and toward the promised land, instead of cursing the children of Israel, he would bless the children of Israel. So Balak said, well, you know what? If I can't get it the spiritual way, as I not seek brought forward last week, I don't know if y'all heard it, but I'm going to jump on it again. Since I can't get them the spiritual way and get you to bring forth your curses upon them, what I'm going to do is what they do to us in almost every situation when they realize that the Most High is on our side. What do? They appeal to our flesh. When they appeal to our flesh, you see, the governments are intelligent. They know what they're doing. Balak at that time was a form of a government. He knew what he was doing. So he said, because I can't curse you spiritually, then I'm gonna cause you to curse yourself. You understand what I'm saying to you? Okay. Because we had the laws, and all we needed to do was abide by the laws that the Creator gave us, and nobody couldn't touch us. But the moment we step outside of what the Lord and Most High says and lean to our own understanding, singing the law right there, but yet leaning in another direction to bring ourselves, our physical selves, some form of pleasure, gratification, or satisfaction, usually in the long run, it turns up backfiring on us. We might have fun for a little while, We might enjoy it for a week or two, or even a month, sometimes even 3 or 4 years. But I promise you, in the end, you will regret the decision that you made by stepping outside of the law. You'll be faced with situations today, and you'll say, yeah, I heard my Abba Ema talk and teach that in the class. Oh yeah, I heard Nasik when he got up and said, the prince said, and then, yeah, Kelfani was teaching me, but you know what? I'm going to go and I'm going to just do it a little bit. And I'm going to get away with it. And ain't nobody going to know because I ain't going to tell nobody. The problem with that is that the Most High sees all. And he will hold it accountable unto you for the things that you do when you're not in the presence of other people who can bring you back unto his truth. Sometimes you can step out so far, and then another thing causes you to step out, and then another thing causes you to step out. Do you see where I started at? Way back there. Sometimes it's harder to get back to that place of righteousness where you're found acceptable to the Most High. And in your essence, you begin to feel like you're out of the presence of the Creator. A lot of you haven't experienced that yet, but I know a lot of people in the listening audience understands exactly what I'm talking about. It's because of the decisions you have made to do evil have taken you further and further and further away from the Creator. And I'm talking about simple things that are written in this book. Not things you need a professor or a scientist or even Prince to explain to you. It's real simple. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not steal. But what they did was they utilized the science and caused us to go against the law. And when we went against the law, he was able to have his way with us now because the Creator became angry with us. As long as the Most High wasn't angry with us, why nothing they could do to us? You know that? As long as we was walking hand in hand, arm in arm, arm in arm, hand in hand. Ain't that how we sing it? Yeah. That's the only way to stand. Yeah, that's right. I know that sound. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Unity. But y'all understand what I'm saying? As long as we walk like that, nobody could do anything to us. Nobody. And as long as we obeyed the voice of the Creator. But when we stepped out, that wink wink, that one little wink wink, made the chain wink, and the chain broke. That's when you step out on your own and start to do things your own way, separating from the laws of the Almighty. Y'all follow what I'm saying?
Okay.
Did I lose you?
No.
Okay. When that wink link represent an individual stepping away from the law and doing it his own way and casting the laws of the Most High behind him. See, they had to try to find a way to get us all weak, or at least the majority of us weak. So you know what they did? They attacked the strong men. Let me tell you something about strong brotherhood. Ain't nothing like a strong brotherhood. Nothing. I don't care. You in love with your woman all you want. You can love her day and night, up and down for 30 years. But when you love a man, and a man loves a man in righteousness, there is no love on the earth that can compare to true love between brotherhood. I'm going to tell you this is real. The reason why you can sit back and smile and question what I'm saying is because you haven't experienced it. You haven't experienced it because the adversary has taken it away from you. He's taken it out of your essence to understand what I'm talking about. Most of this stuff we got between man and woman, it's not love, it's lust. The best thing that I can say is love that I see in this earth today is how a woman feels for her child. That's the closest thing to love. Now, when you got two men that's in the military, in the army, and they're willing to die for each other, how many people are you willing to die for? You understand what I'm saying? To get the man to that level, it takes a psychological training, a psychological mobility to get him to love another man that much or other men that much that he will be willing to plow down and kill people for them. I'm not talking no fairy tale stuff. Believe me. What I'm talking about is something that most of us have never experienced, but we must experience if we're going to be successful at building this nation. Do y'all understand what I'm saying to you?
Okay.
A lot of men, I didn't mean to get on this, but I'm going to talk about this for a second because I see so many questions are up in the air. If you read the history of great nations, great kings, Mansa Musa, King Solomon, King David. Those men that was around him, that was with him, that was walking with him, had a love for him. They had a real love for him. One brother said, "You hungry, my Lord?" "Yeah, I'm hungry." He went out and slew men and brought back some grapes or some honey just so his king could eat. That's what I'm talking about. See, y'all don't know nothing about that. Because when y'all get hungry, your father could be hungry. You say, "Abba, you hungry?" "Yeah, can you go to the kitchen and fix me something to eat?" "Dang, man, why it's always got to be me?" Dang it, because you don't understand. And once you begin to really understand, you will understand, you'll feel, and you'll have a relationship with what it is that Prince is talking about right now. Men don't know how to love men. We always think it's something fairy tale up in there, that old flaky stuff that the Europeans put into play. They ain't got nothing to do with that. It's about men. It's about honor. It's about respect. It's about trust. It's about loyalty and commitment. Something that I pray that all of us get. Because we have to. It's so bad right now, brothers won't die for brothers. Brothers won't even fight for brothers anymore. He big. Well, there's two of us. I know, but he big and it's going to hurt. That ain't the way it go, Al. That ain't the way it goes. You get down or you lay down, one or the other, but you got to roll with it. It's just that simple. That's your brother, your blood. And you got to be willing to sacrifice your life, not foolishly, but intelligently. That means we're going to give it all we got to survive. And if we die fighting, we're going to die fighting. But we ain't going to die with our backs to the enemy running. We're going to die on the front line fighting, because that's what it's about. So all that stuff, when I tell y'all about them slippers, coming outside with them slippers on, I just be trying to mentally prepare you for that time. That's all it is. I be trying to get your mind mentally stimulated to that time that you might have to put your life on the line for Goshen. For your brothers and your sisters and all these little children. If I'm not willing to risk my life, I shouldn't even be here. I shouldn't even be standing here trying to teach and instruct and guide and bring discipline and understanding to the people. Other than that, I'm a failure. Any great leader has to be willing to risk his happiness, his joy, his satisfaction, his own pleasure to see the people evolve. Our forefathers understood that. It's not about me as an individual. It's about the people. And any great leader understands that principle. And if he doesn't, you need to run from him because he doesn't care enough about you. So why should you serve him? Understand what I'm saying. This ain't no time for us to be playing games. And the longer we live in this life, it's the life that we're living in, the longer we live in it, with today, the way the world is right now, it's going to require more and more of your love, your loyalty, your obedience to this community. That's true. As the days go by. See, my wife she was fortunate enough when she was a child, her family was brought up like that. So they got a lot of love for each other that they're willing to go on the front line for each other in many ways. But we don't see that in a lot of our families today. Half of us don't even know our families. And the ones that we do know don't like us, don't want to talk to us, so they got a grudge against us. For whatever it might be. Let's move all that out the way. Let's look past that. And let's begin to build something strong. Who's reading today, please? All right. So now what we're going to talk about today is that weak link. That weak link, that link that caused the chain to break. You only cause a chain to break when you are on your own and you're walking away from the truth of the Almighty. Y'all follow me?
Okay.
Balaam realized he couldn't curse us spiritually. So Balak, very intelligent. See, that's what I'm talking about. See how she corrected me? I could have said, "Who you talking to me? What are we talking to me about? You don't correct you. I'm right. You wrong." But that don't happen. She was right. So the right thing for me to do is surrender and submit and say, "You know what? You're right," and give it over. So don't be afraid to tell somebody else when they correct you that they're, "Oh, I ain't trying to hear it." No. If you realize that what they say in the form of correction is factual and actual, then you commend them for it. And you receive that correction. That's the proper way to grow. So Balaam had determined that he was going to curse us physically because he couldn't touch us spiritually. Now, whatever portion of this lesson you get from it, take it with you for the rest of your life. and just know the many different devices that the adversary utilizes when he's trying to destroy what you got going on. Because they're coming at us, y'all. They coming. Watch this. Who's going to read? Turn over Bible. We're going to read in Numbers, the 25th chapter, verse 1.
In the book of Numbers, chapter 25. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab.
What did we do?
Commit
How did that happen? How did that happen?
They sent the women in the midst of the people.
That's exactly what happened.
What naked people?
They decided.
Okay.
And
What happened?
we in the first verse.
Gosh.
Do y'all realize we in the first verse?
Yes.
Now, in the last chapter, Balaam just got out there and prophesied how he didn't see nothing wrong with the children of Israel. The Creator was not displeased with us in any way. He said to Balaam, there is nothing nothing I can do to them because the Creator is not displeased with them. He see no sin in them. So when the Most High didn't see sin in us, there was nothing that he could do to bring curses. So we right in the very next chapter, in the very first verse, in the very next chapter, Balaam got slick. And he said all these butt-naked booty women.
Lot.
Balaam. I love this. This family here is just tight. Boy, y'all on point. He sent Balak, sent these big butt booty, butt-naked booty big women.
That's their religion.
Yeah. Now I want y'all to think about this for a second. Think about the sincerity of what we're saying. We're trying to make it funny and a joke. Well, think about the sincerity of it. Every government knows that if you want to weaken a man, you attack him in his lower essence. That's where you attack him at. If the man's higher essence is not strong enough, he will fall victim to that lower essence. This is why it's very important that a young man don't learn how to desire the pleasures of that lower essence over desiring the pleasure of pleasing his higher self. It's extremely important. So all you men, you got young boys that you're raising up, keep them out of the sexual world and bring them more into the spiritual world and teach them the truth of the Most High, how to conduct themselves, how to have self-discipline, self-willpower, self-motivation, and self-love for himself. Because if you truly love yourself, you're not going to do things that you know is going to destroy you. And chasing after physical pleasure is usually 99.9% of the time going to bring destruction when it takes you away from the law of the Most High. Okay?
Okay.
Here come those women, but here come those strong Israelite men. There she goes. She walking by. Here come another one. She walk. Here come another one. Here come. Before I can get off that one, here come another one. Just because you said no 5 times don't mean that other one ain't coming. Understand? It wasn't easy for them to cause us to fall. It took time, but they were persistent with it. Do you know that righteousness is not easy for you to obtain? But if you're persistently striving for perfection, one day you'll wake up and you'll say, dang, man, I done conquered most of my sins. You won't even realize what the rest of them are, but you're living in this place called bliss. And in this place called bliss, it's a place where you can truly walk in your integrity and say, I haven't sinned. Not that you haven't, but you don't know nothing about it. And if you have, and if you are, the Most High, as long as you walk toward Him, He'll bring it to your recognition. Because when your test comes, it comes when you think you are the holiest that you are. And it will come in a manner that you won't recognize until you're in the midst of that test or after the test is over. Either you failed or passed. But usually you don't see the test coming. But believe me, we all get tested daily. And your test is not going to be like my test. My test might be with $50,000. Rather, I'm going to steal it and put it in my pocket or run out the house with it or not. But your test might be with a bottle of liquor. His test might be with some weed, some marijuana. Or that brother over there, his test might be with some stealing from the grocery store. Everybody's test come on a level where they are. That's how your test comes. You're not going to get my test. I'm going to get my test. And my test, I might have already conquered where you are. But here in the wilderness, our forefathers had not conquered that lower self. And with the persistency, they say if you see something or you hear something in a repetition, constant repetition, at least 5 times within a certain time frame, you usually remember it. It plants itself within your desires, within your mind. And you usually go out and seek out that thing that you don't even know that you're desiring. So they keep bringing them, how you say it, them big butt, booty, naked women.
But
If-
nasty.
If they keep bringing them kind of women in front of you, that's why it's important that we get our own schools, we get our own hospitals, we get our own libraries, we get our own grocery stores. This is why it's important that we get our own, because when we got our own and we own our land, we can have our people to dress a certain way. And the chances of that happening will be a lot less. All right? So let's try to get into the lesson. The women came, and what did the men do? The men were weak. I know a lot of men think they're strong, but you're weak. You're super weak. A lot of us. We think we're strong. We think we got it all under control. But the first thing that you have to do is acknowledge your shortcomings. And when it comes to the opposite sex, most men are weak. When you build up that discipline within yourself, she could be in front of you any kind of way she wants. She ain't your woman, it won't even matter. What you'll do is, hey sis, why don't you put some clothes on? That's how you know when you're getting better. Why don't you put some clothes on? Well, what are you talking about? Your stuff is showing. Your stuff is hanging out. You're half naked. When you start putting them in check, they'll start getting themselves accountable. And I'm talking about in the house of worship. I'm talking about in the house of worship. As long as you keep giving them that attention, they're going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. Next thing you know, they're going to be wearing a bathing suit to the Shabbat service. Because the men, y'all say that because your minds is in one place. But I'm trying to teach you something and how it happens. If we continuously allow this nakedness to take place and nobody's checking it, that's what's going to happen. They're going to say, well, you didn't say last week when I had my thighs out. They'll wear their thighs out for about 6 more weeks, 7 more weeks. And if you look carefully, that skirt is getting shorter and shorter. And next thing you know, she got a mini skirt. Well, you didn't say nothing, Prince, when I had 3/4 of my thighs out 6 months ago. So why are you saying something now? What I say to you is wake up whenever you can wake up and put them people in check. Men walking around in muscle shirts out in the Shabbat service because they want to flex their strength. No, we shouldn't do that, huh? And as you young men, you should never, you know what a wife beater is? They call them wife beaters.
Tank tops.
Yeah, my wife don't like that, wife beaters, but that's what they call them. But yeah, tank tops. We shouldn't be wearing tank tops out in the public. You dress any way you want in your home, but in the public, you should be covered. The more you allow yourself to be in that world, the more easier it's going to be for you to be in that world. I remember when I was a young man, I used to have a problem walking around my house with no shirt on. I used to have a problem with that. And I wasn't in the truth. I wasn't in this law. And I didn't know nothing about the Most High on this level. But now I understand why. Because innately, you should never walk around your brothers and sisters, your family members, with your shirt off. They should never get to see this flesh. They shouldn't. Some people might say, Prince, you're going over the top. But what I'm saying is, I'm trying to prepare you for your future. You can either hear me or you can reject what it is that I'm saying to you. But your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother, they should never see your nakedness. Nobody. Let's move on. Well, that ain't my nakedness. Yeah, it is. It's your nakedness. But let's move on.
Verse 2. And they called the people into the sacrifice.
Can we start back over at verse 1?
And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab.
We began to commit what? Whoredoms. Do we understand what the scripture's saying?
Yes.
Okay, well, we begin to do bad things with these daughters that we weren't supposed to do. Now, the only way that we can do these whoredoms was to separate ourselves from the laws of the Most High. You understand what I'm saying? Once you separated yourself from the laws of the Creator, and the longer you did it, the easier it became. So when we saw one brother with one, right? Wasn't nothing said. Then there's 2 or 3 brothers we seen with none. Ain't nothing being said. Now all of a sudden we got 10 and 15 of them walking around committing whoredoms with these nations. The Midianites we're going to talk about later. Whole bunch of them. but nobody's saying nothing. That means it's getting out of control. And if we allow evil to continue to get out of control within our nation, we're going to anger who? Somebody got to pay the price for angering the Creator, right?
That's right.
One or two people the Most High might let it slide. But when you get a majority of the people start doing evil, or large numbers of the people begin to do evil, the Most High ain't going to let it slide no more. So let's see what the Most High did. Read on, please.
And they called the people into the sacrifices of their gods.
What did they do?
They called the people into the sacrifices of their gods.
Back up a second. Now this part right here is so important that a lot of us don't even know what it's talking about. Do you think that it just means that they're standing there with an altar praying to their deity, whoever their deity? Chemosh was actually the name of their deity, Chemosh. So they're praying to their deity, sacrificing animals, and you think you standing there while they're sacrificing their animals?
No, that's not what's happening.
That's right. It's a whole lot deeper than that. It's when you allow certain things in certain people, people have a spirit, first of all. Have you ever seen a Muslim? Anybody ever seen a Muslim?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a lot of Muslim people?
Yes.
Now, if you close your eyes and open your eyes and look at them and they don't never say nothing and they ain't got on no certain clothes, usually you can still tell they Muslim, can't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Depends if they on their game.
That's
Yeah,
right.
they on their
That's
game.
right. Usually you can feel, I'm not saying 100% of the time, but like 80-85% of the time, you can feel this person's energy.
You can feel the Hebrew too.
Yeah, that's right. This is how real it is when you get deep into your studies, deep into your way of life. So now, people carry spirits. In the book of Daniel, I believe it's the 12th chapter, I believe it is, the angel Gabriel, Michael, speaks to Daniel. And Gabriel tells Daniel that the angel Michael fights for his people. And that the Persian had an angel that fought for the Persians. This is real. In this lifetime right now, you have angels on your team that's fighting for you. They're the governing angels of your essence at this particular time. So what happens is that spirit is familiar within that individual. They will begin to look like what they represent. Most of the time, Muslims, you can see them with the little things on their head, little dots in the middle of their head. A lot of prostration.
That's Hindu.
No, I'm talking about Muslims. If I was wrong, then I would say, yes, you're right, but I'm not.
What are you talking about?
I'm getting ready to tell you.
Okay.
A lot of Muslims that take it to that level, they do it intentionally. They call them prayer marks, where they were prostration marks, where they would pray so long on their forehead till they got that little black rug burn mark on their head. Yeah. Sometimes you'll see them and that'll let you know who they are. But if you're keen, you can feel people's energy. And people's energy will let you know that something ain't right. Well, that spirit, that sacrifice is what the Creator's talking about. We went to these people's, we realized that they were committing whoredoms before the Most High, and we didn't check them. We didn't correct them. You know what we did? We said, oh, that's all right, as long as I get what I need. They called us to their sacrifices, and we ate. Oh, as long as I get what I need from them, oh, she's good to me. She's going to, you know what I mean? The daughters of Moab. Huh?
Thanksgiving.
Simple.
Thanksgiving.
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 What'd you say? Simp. Simp. Okay. You're talking about the person? Okay, you're right. Like Thanksgivings and Christmas.
Please talk about it.
Like Thanksgivings and Christmas and Halloween and Easter. Easter, what they got coming up. Oh man, that's my girl. Now you thoroughbred Hebrew Israelite, but yet your girl practicing Easter. Man, I'm gonna give you this money, man, but I'm not partaking in it. Yeah, you are. You're partaking in it. You know what the law says, but you won't separate yourself from that individual because of the benefits that you get from the individual. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's calling us to their sacrifice because they thank their power, their deity, whoever it is that they serve, they thank. So they're allowing us to be called in or drawn in, and guess what we're doing? Know how we eating it? We partaking of their evil. Mm-hmm. Read on, let's see where we at, please.
And they called the people into the sacrifices of their gods, and the people did eat, and they bowed down to their gods.
We ate and we bowed down, we prostrated. Do you think that angered the Most High?
Yeah.
Do you think we eat and bow down to people's deities now?
Yes.
Absolutely we do. Many of us. What I say about that weak link? Whenever that weak link separates and do things that they choose to bring their physical body's pleasure, separating from the laws of the Most High, that's what they're guilty of. Read on, please.
And Israel joined himself unto Peor in the anger of
And Israel joined themselves to Peor. If I'm not mistaken, Peor means master, Baal Peor. It means master of the flies.
No. Baal Peor, master. The opening. Opening. Think about it. Opening.
The top is opening.
No, sir. Think about it.
Go ahead, teach me.
Baal Peor, master of the opening. You understand the opening because you understand
Oh,
what they sent
you
them.
know what? I like that better.
You understand what they sent
I
them.
should have looked that word up to make sure I was on point this morning. Baal Peor, master of the opening.
Right.
And I pray that y'all understand the opening.
We leave it right there.
That opening was the part that caused our brothers to walk away from the law and grab onto that opening and master the opening. They seduced us in that method. And our people went and partook of that evil. All right? You follow me? I don't want y'all to think that this was something simple. That our forefathers, who was just a chapter ago, perfect in the sight of the Creator. And then next week, they just dropped off and then they started worshiping the master of the opening. I don't want y'all to think that this was like an overnight thing. They do it gradually. It's a slow motion process. Why am I telling you this? Because I don't want you to think that when your test comes, you're going to be able to recognize it right away. Your test is going to come in a way that you feel is real comfortable in that condition, or in that place, or in that position. You're going to feel real comfortable, but it's going to be a test to see if you choose to be on the Most High side or on the adversarial side. If you choose to be that weak link, to walk away from the laws of the Almighty. Read on, please.
And the anger of the Most High was kindled against Israel. And the Most High said unto Moshe, take all the heads of the people and hang them up before the Most High against the sun.
Now, stop right there for a second. Don't move no further. You're making too much noise. I can't hear myself. Pick your kufi up and put it back on your head.
Sure.
Now, watch this. The anger of the Most High was kindled against the children of Israel. We angered the Most High. You know what the Most High did? Did he say, oh, they are my children. They are flesh and blood. I'm not going to do anything to them? Did the Most High do that? No. What did the Most High say? Kill them!
The heads.
He didn't just say kill them, like go crush them through.
They covered.
Give me.
It says we cover
Because
your
you
post
post
because it show graphic content.
What graphic content?
Cutting the lamb.
Oh, that's a different post.
Yeah, I worry
You
about
talking
that.
about big booty women.
Yeah. I didn't know I put nothing up covering the lamb. Oh, that other one?
Yeah.
All right, well, whatever it
I
is.
thought
It
it was
is.
this.
All right, we moving?
No, she has a
They try to interrupt us so we can
No,
move
that
forward.
No, they blocked the other one. The other one you on now is currently still going.
Okay, you can see me?
Yes, sir.
It cut off on mine.
That's just yours.
That's you're on your account.
It's on there.
Okay. All right. So here we go.
Oh, I have one.
Man, where was I at?
We slaughtered them.
Slaughtered. He killed them.
Oh, yeah. He ain't just kill them, like thrusting them through with a sword. What he did was, he made an example of them for all the world to see. He cut their heads off and hung them on a pole. Now, that might sound like such a gruesome thing, but I'm saying to you that you never know how angry you get the Most High by doing intentional evil against His truth. There is no justification when the Most High brings down His wrath, because the Most High is just in all His works.
That's right.
So who are we to say, oh, that was too hideous, that was too much? The Most High is just in all of His works. I'm not saying these things to try to frighten you or make you afraid or scare you. That's not why I'm teaching you these things. I'm teaching you these things to make you aware of the power of the Creator. I'm teaching you these things so that you will learn to love and obey the Creator, as opposed to doing what a lot of us do and what a lot of us have done in the past, and that sacrifice the laws of the Most High for our own self-pleasure.
Right.
That's not good. It's not good at all. So a lot of you younger people who have come up in this way, you are very, very fortunate. Very fortunate. Because before you have learned to do so many evil things, the Most High brought you under his wing. And he's attempting to teach you how to worship him. It's up to you to walk through that threshold and say, Creator, I'm ready. It might appear to be boring to you. It might not be a whole lot of fun and excitement and a whole bunch of joy. But what I'm saying to you is that most of the things that we consider joy, fun, and excitement are things of the world. Those things are manufactured. They're not innate. Innate means within us. They're manufactured things that stimulate our minds to a certain way. But you have to be gradually brought up to a level of understanding to find joy in the things of the world. For example, if like Kai got his hair, all of his hair right now, if he had a beard all over his face, most people would look at him and be like, yo, you need a cut. No, that's what they would say to you. They would say, yo, he need to go get a cut. Look at all that hair all over his face. But if we were able to pick him up and take him back in time to our forefathers who walked in this truth for real, he would fit right in.
They probably have the hair braid.
Yeah, he would fit right in though. Do you understand what it is that I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Yes.
Gradually, over time, things are accepted and they're not accepted based on the culture of the people. And the culture of this world right now is wicked. It's evil and it's wicked. In order to fit in with the culture of this world, you have to become evil and wicked in order to fit in. There is no in-between. You have to either be one way or the other way. And if you're not going to be in the culture of this world, then you have to stand on the side of righteousness. And if you're not going to stand on the side of righteousness, then you have to fully give yourself over to the wicked spirit that governs this earth. What is that, Job 9 and 24? The Most High says in Job 9 and 24, can somebody grab that for me, please? Job 9 and 24. Thank you. Job 9 and 24. Somebody tell me what it says.
Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the face of...
That's all I need to see. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. This culture that governs this earth is wicked by nature. And anybody who is comfortable living in the midst of these people, working in the midst of these people, and have allowed themselves to be conditioned, being comfortable, most of your time being given to these people, and you're comfortable, and you found some kind of joy in that level of place, usually you have become wicked and don't even know it. There is a balance. There is a balance that you can maintain when you walk in righteousness and you dwell in the midst of evil people. But I promise you that if you are that good and you are maintaining your balance of righteousness, but yet dwelling in the midst of people, the majority of those people you dwell in the midst of will not like you. Their spirit will be against you. Their energy will be against you. And they won't even understand why. And if you ever sit them down and ask them why they feel that way about you, they don't know what to tell you.
That's a great opportunity.
That's a great opportunity. That's right. But when you think you can straddle the fence and be a part of both worlds because you want to please everybody in your circle around and they're all wicked, and you want to be on righteous terms and serve the Creator at the same time, it ain't going to happen. Choose ye this day who you will serve. If the Most High be the power, then serve him. But if Chemosh or Baal Peor be the power, then that's who you serve. And our people in that day, we chose to serve Baal Peor. May the Most High be praised. Shabbat shalom.
I think he did a good job. What y'all think? Y'all right? Yeah. There's a lot, and he did a good job and did a good breakdown. There's a couple things I want to point out that you might not have missed. You might have missed because I'm kind of the reason he cut it short, right? I'm kind of the reason he cut it short, so I want y'all to catch it. The Baal of Peor, that's the Baal. I'm talking a certain way so that it's appropriate for the entire audience, but the people that understands will understand, right? So Baal Peor is the Lord of the opening. You understand the opening?
Yes.
Right? Or sometimes it's called the Lord of the gap. You understand the gap, right? So now, what was their deity? That was their deity. So then they bowed down to their deity. And they ate and bowed down to their deity. I guarantee you, listen to me, I guarantee you, the Israelites, I want y'all to pay attention in the back. I'm going to slow it down. I guarantee you, the Israelites that took part of it didn't think they were committing idolatry.
That's right.
They did not think they were committing idolatry. Because all they saw was what? Yeah, first of all, y'all know how them Hamites come. They're good in the snicker. Y'all see them in the braid shops, right? So then when they came through like that, their mind is on go. But what was their idol? So when they bowed down to the idol, I guarantee you, y'all with me? Yeah. I see the brothers coming in. I guarantee you they wasn't thinking about idolatry. But what does that teach us? Y'all with me? That teaches us that even if you're not thinking about idolatry, but you're committing the act of idolatry, you're guilty of idolatry. Should I say it a different way?
Yep. Say it the same way.
If you are committing the act of idolatry and you don't even know it's idolatry, you're still guilty of idolatry.
That's right.
Because the thing that caught the Israelites in the wilderness with Baal Peor is the same thing that a lot of times can easily catch your Israelite now.
Today.
Easy. So I'll tell y'all one thing to make it simple. Because the thing that you're desiring, I'm talking for the audience, so it's age appropriate, so y'all going to catch me. The thing that you're desiring is not a sin. It's natural. It's biology. But what does the proverb teach us? Let your waters be thine and thine alone, and not thy neighbors with thee. Y'all remember? Y'all think that proverb is about water. It's not. You got to read it in context. Let your waters be not thine and thine alone, and not thy neighbors with thee. So if it's community property, it's not your property. Stay home. Y'all don't hear me. Somebody uncomfortable? Good. Be uncomfortable. Stay home. Stay home. Because everything that you want to do, you can't do. And righteousness, though. So simmer down. You got time for that. You can do it so much that you want to do something else. Right? It's time for that. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We're going to go to Daniel 6 and we're going to be done by 5 o'clock so that everybody could still prepare, eat up their last bit of comments. The keys in the car. Eat up their last bit of comments, do their last bit of cleaning up, and they'll all be set. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Magnified and holy. Praised and glorified, exalted and extolled above all be the name of the supreme King of Kings, the Holy One. Blessed be He. Say amen. Amen. Everybody with me? Daniel chapter 6, verse 1. I want y'all to remember what's happening here. Everybody still with me? I want y'all to remember what's happening here. Remember when Daniel got snatched from Judah, he was a kid. Y'all remember that? He was a child. He was a teenager. They say he was somewhere from like 17, 15, depending on who you ask. He was a child. And then when he came in, if you remember his history, if you read the first 6 chapters of Daniel, there's a lot of inspiration in there. You'll like it, right? So you remember he was a child and he came with his friends and he had good friends. And he had righteous friends. And because he stayed righteous, he was able to elevate in the captivity.
Yeah.
That's a lesson right there. I'm going to say it slower, right? Because Daniel maintained his righteousness, he was still able to elevate his circumstances while in captivity. You will have a lot of people that'll teach you doom and gloom all the time. Y'all with me? Yeah. They'll teach you doom and gloom all the time. They'll say things that, even this verse in Job, I don't even like that verse. I rebuke that. The world is given over to the wicked. The Most High runs all things at all times, period. Not semicolon, not comma, period. So that, and the Most High is not even held back by geography. He's not held back by the circumstances that you might feel hold you back. So even if you're like, you know what? We live in a society, I heard it all before. We live in a society and the white man is holding us back and we can't succeed and we can't excel. You creating a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
That's not God doing that. That's you doing that. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and I'll prove it to you. Because if you don't believe that you can succeed in doing something, you won't even try. You right with me?
That's right.
You don't need an enemy if you won't try. You don't need a saboteur if you won't make the effort yourself, because you sabotage yourself. So when you hear a lot of people teach, even Hebrews, and they teach that you can't succeed in a white man's word unless you are a part of the system of the devil, that's their version of God. Our version of God is the version of the Most High that Daniel served. Because off the bat, Daniel, listen, when you read the first 3 chapters, like 3 or 4 tests that they went through, and they were facing death. Y'all hear me? Mm-hmm. They didn't bend, they didn't break. I mean, and if you even look at some of the ways they responded to it, I'm like, whoa, y'all kind of going kind of hard there. Y'all could have maneuvered, but they didn't bend, they didn't budge, they didn't break, and the Most High was with them. Y'all hear me? So what's the lesson for that? Don't defeat yourself. In real life, you're going to have enemies. Everybody in power does things to maintain power. But don't imagine that the narrative that they're putting out, that you can't succeed, that you can't excel, is your actual reality. It's not. It's not. Okay? That's about Daniel. At this portion right now, Daniel is an old man now. Because remember, he got brought there as a young child. And then he rose up in the ranks with one king. And then another king. And I think this is the 3rd king since he was there. So right now, Daniel is about 78, 80. All right? Just to put it in context. Let's read it. Daniel chapter 6, verse 1. Read loud.
In the book of Daniel, chapter 6. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Remember, this is in the Medo-Persian Empire, right? When the Medes and the Persians were running the world. A large percentage of it. What else does it say?
It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom.
All right, let's give it in context. All right, because remember, like a lot of times that humans do, because humans, they have God complexes. It's not an Israelite thing, it's not an American thing, it's a human thing. Right? They have God complexes. So he got power, he started trying to take over everything. But you know, he was a good leader. So sometimes when you have a whole big responsibility, you have to split it up and make certain people in charge of certain things, right? Hoarding all the power is a definite solution for failure, because you cannot manage everything, right? You shouldn't micromanage everything, but you should make sure everything happens. Right. So what he did, he set up 20 princes, right? And they were ruling different parts of the empire. Let's see what else does it say.
And over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was the first, that the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. Right.
So there was 120 princes that were running the kingdom. And those 120 princes were ran by the 3 people that was above them, and Daniel was one of them. You got it? Yeah. So Daniel was a big shot. Daniel was basically running the government in captivity, and he was righteous. Everything you ever been taught about not being able to succeed in captivity, unless you're wicked, is a falsehood. It's a narrative that was created by people that failed and expect to fail and normalize failure.
Right.
We rebuke all of that. That's not our reality. Because the God that we serve is not one that's limited. Right. Amen? Amen. We got to own it. What else does it say?
Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes, because an excellent spirit was with him. And the king thought to set him over the whole realm.
Daniel was still observant, you know. You know how sometimes, if we think about it, what we surround, that's how you know his character was a high level. Because no matter who we are, who we surround ourselves around all the time, they typically impact us a bit. Right. A little bit. So like, for example, if everybody in Goshen was going out every day jogging, you can hate working out, but you'll probably walk around the track with them. Or like, if everybody in Goshen every week, they just talk about healthy food, healthy food, healthy food, you might grab the Cheez-Its, but you won't grab the honey bun.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's going to impact you. But the thing about the strong character of Daniel was that even being outside of his land, because he wasn't brought there a child, he was brought there a teenager. So he had his own experiences. He was raised there to the point right now where he's an elder and he maintained it. So that shows you something about him, right? It's not a regular guy. What else does it say?
Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find none occasion nor fault, for as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him.
Right, what is that saying? This teaches us another lesson. I'm moving a little fast, but I think y'all with me, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It said that they tried to find fault with him, but they couldn't because he was honest and he wasn't negligent. Think about that. Why would somebody try to sabotage you and you actually doing a phenomenal job? Because whenever you up, you will have haters.
Yes, sir.
Get used to it. Expect it. Prepare for it. There's no way you're going to do anything excellent or phenomenal and you like, everybody should be clapping for me. Everybody should be proud of me. I'm not hurting anybody. What I'm doing is actually good and helping people. And then you get the hate and then you all brokenhearted. Don't be brokenhearted. Expect it. It's normal. That's what humans do. They get jealous, they get animosity, they get hatred, and they sabotage people that only trying to help, only trying to do good, and actually adding value. So I don't want you to live in a fake reality where only bad things or happen to bad people. That's not real.
Right.
People try to destroy good people all the time. Prepare for it.
Yep.
That's the first rule. What else does it say?
Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his El.
What? Read it back again. Read it louder so that everybody that wasn't paying attention can pay attention. Read it again. What does it say?
Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his El.
Now think about how wicked this is. They're like, this guy is doing a phenomenal job. He's doing it perfectly. He's not even negligent. The only way we could sabotage him if we try to do something to attack his connection with the Most High. Think about what high-level wickedness that is.
Right. He never changed.
Think about what high-level wickedness that is. And don't imagine that we live in a world much different than this world, because you'll see that all of these lessons still apply now. What else does it say?
Verse 6. Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king, and said thus unto him, King Darius, live forever.
Y'all paying attention?
Yeah.
What else does
All the
it say?
presidents of the kingdom, the governors, and the princes, and the counselors, and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute, and to make a firm decree, that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, saveth thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions.
Keep
Now, O
going.
king, establish the decree, and sign the writing, that it not be changed according to the law of the Medes,
To me.
the Medes, and the Persians, which altereth not.
All right, y'all with me? There's two very important points in there if you caught it. The first one is what? Sometimes, y'all with me? Sometimes a person or a group of people will come to you and they'll give you something that to you sounds good. It sounds like something they're doing for you, but their intention has nothing to do with you. They're only running their own agenda. They're running their own agenda, but they painting a picture like they're trying to help you.
You a convict.
Right? Another thing, another lesson in that. First of all, you're going to be able to tell later that that king is not stupid. So what did they do? They created social pressure. Did you peep it? It said the princes were there. The leaders were there. All of us agreed that this is what you should do. But he didn't know he was getting lined up. Because Daniel was his man. He didn't know he was getting lined up. Let that be a lesson to you. Not everything everybody says to you, even if it sounds like it's for your own good, is for your own good. They could really be running a whole plot, a whole agenda, right? So with all these things, use wisdom. Everything got to be tempered with wisdom. You can even ask Prince. Sometimes it annoy him. He'll ask me a question, and I'll be like, you know, I never give an answer on the first conversation. Call me back tomorrow. Because sometimes you don't even know what you don't know. Because if he even took a moment to think about this, he could have realized, what was the point of it? There's no logical reason for that law to exist. And if there's no logical reason for it to exist, y'all still with me? Listen to me. Listen to me. if it seems like somebody doing something that doesn't make sense, most times it makes sense. Y'all not catching me? If it seems like somebody, y'all with me? If it seems like somebody is doing something that it looks like it doesn't make sense, most time it actually does make sense. You just don't know all the factors.
Right.
You don't know the reason for them doing it. So you don't have that information, and never, if ever you catch yourself in that situation, just slow down a bit. It's okay to be like, yeah, let me think about it. Even if it seems like an all good thing. Let's keep going. What else does it say?
Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree.
Verse 9. He didn't take a delay, nothing. It was a social pressure, sound good. And what else does it say? Go
Now,
ahead.
Daniel knew that the writing was signed. He went to his house, his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem. He kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before the Most High, as he did aforetime.
All right, Daniel. This is proof that Daniel is completely different, right? Did y'all catch what happened? It said Daniel knew that the decree went out. He knew that he could die for this, right? You could pray with the window closed. Daniel didn't pray with the window closed. He could have prayed with the window closed for 30 days. But he was like, yeah, no. He went the same routine, prayed with the window open towards Jerusalem. What else does it say happened?
Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before the Most High.
What kind of wild plot is that? They're like, Daniel prayed 3 times a day, probably Shakari, Ma'ariv, and Minka. Right? He probably doing his 3 prayers a day. And so now they knew what time he would pray. Right. You know they knew because they got together. Think about the high level wickedness going on here. That's high level wickedness. But think about also the character of Daniel. Because if in the same situation, I probably would have prayed. I'd have closed the window. Probably put up a curtain. He left the window up and he knew they was there and he knew it happened. What else does it say?
Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, say with thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions?
Right, so they lined him up again so he can't even back out of it, right? He's like, didn't you say? What else?
The king answered and said, the thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which alter it not.
Right, because if y'all remember from when we did the book of Esther, that was still the Medes and Persians. They got this thing. There's no amendments.
Right.
Whatever law you put out is the law is going to be. There's no amendments. The only thing you could do is add an additional law, but you can't change that law. What else does it say?
Verse 13. Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regarded not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day.
And that's true. They wasn't lying, but they set it all up. What else? Read a little louder.
Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him.
Right. So at this moment, you know the king already knew he got manipulated.
Right.
He knew he was manipulated at that point. Because he already thought about Daniel, like, I should have known Daniel would still pray. He realized that the same people that created, convinced him to sign the law, were the same people snitching.
Right.
But at that point, it was too late. What's the lesson in that? Slow down, man. Slow down. You don't have to make life to change and decisions on a whim. Slow down. Be patient. You got time. Because you can always do something. You can never undo anything. Y'all hear me? What else does it say?
Then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, Know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is, that no decree nor statute which the king establisheth may be changed.
So now they twisting his arm like, you already know, you don't have the power to undo what you said. They forcing it. What else?
Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel, and they cast him into the lion's den. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, Thy God, whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee.
What else can you say after you already know you lined them up? What else? Go ahead.
And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet, and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were there instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him.
So that means that was Daniel's friend.
Right.
What's the lesson? Sometimes people could really set you up. You think that they have one agenda, they have one intention, and it's not. Right? Sometimes the things and the words that people say to you, their purposes is not the purposes that they purport that it is. Right? Take your time. Go on.
Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste until the lion's den.
Mhm.
And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living El, is thy most high, whom thou servest continually, able to deliver thee from the lion's den?
Right. Remember, how old did I say that Daniel was right now?
78 or 80.
He's like 78, 80. You ever notice that whenever you see the paintings of Daniel in the lion den, he looks like a young, fit man? He was an old man at this point, a really old man. What else does it say? He could have broke a bone just getting thrown in the pit. What else does it say?
Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. Elohim hath sent his angel and hath shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. Then was the king exceedingly glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in the Most High.
Right. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Keep going.
And the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of the lions. Them, their children, and their wives, and the lions had the mastery of them, and break all their bones in pieces, or ever they came at the bottom of the den.
All right. I don't know. Whenever I read that verse, it makes me smile a little bit. I don't know if that makes me a bad person, but it makes me smile a little bit. Because you ever notice, like, sometimes if a person, they just plot wickedness for no reason. You know, sometimes if you plot something, but the person kind of earned it, you can kind of feel justified. But if you plotting something and the only reason is because the person is doing good, and besides them doing good, they're doing well, and it breeds up animosity and hatred. So then people try to sabotage them and set it up for them to fail. But what happened? The Most High is the true judge. Y'all with me? The Most High is the true judge. So the same lions that they thought would kill Daniel ended up being their own demise. And the demise of their whole family. And there's a lesson to that. The lesson is that you got to have confidence in the Most High. Y'all with me?
Yep.
You got to have confidence in the Most High, and you have to live an ethical life. So that way when you lean on the Most High, he can save you. What you understand about it?
That happened to Mordecai enemy too.
Yep, that happened to Mordecai enemy too. And it was in the same time period too. With the Medes and the Persians. Right? What else does it say?
Then King Darius wrote unto all people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble in fear before the Most High of Daniel.
Right.
He is
That's interesting too. He didn't give up his idols. Right. But he knew who the Elohim was. What else?
Right. For he is the living Most High, and steadfast forever. And
If he's the living Most High, what's the rest of them?
Dead.
Or non-living, at least. Yeah. What else?
steadfast forever, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. His dominion shall be even until the end. He delivered and rescued, and he worketh signs and wonders in heaven and in earth. Who hath delivered Daniel from the power of the lions? So this Daniel prospered in the reign of Darius and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I think we got it done in time. Hallelujah. We're going to get it done. And close out, we're going to have, well, we usually have Ruth sing Psalm 150. We don't got it here, so I'm sure Shem can whip something together. Right? And then we're going to have, y'all feel the piercing, cutting eyes over here. And then we're going to have a closing prayer by Brother Nathaniel. Let's make sure we got all the lessons down pat. 1, trust in the Most High. Right? 2, don't always believe the words that people telling you are the reasons that they are telling you those words. 3, slow down sometime before you make a decision, because you can always do something, you can never undo anything.
That's right.
4, when people plot against the righteous, they plot against themselves. 5, when you doing well and you doing good, know there will be haters. Expect it and prepare for it. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Come on, Shem, what you got for us, man?
And it was cool last week.
Just take your time. Just take your time.
Yes?
Just take your time. No rush at all. I don't want you to rush at all, guys. Take your time, brother.
We got about 20 minutes.
There's no urgency whatsoever.
It's the base? All right. You gonna leave us, how many cards? Baruch Hashem, Shel Yahovah. Baruch Hashem, Shel Yahovah. Baruch Hashem, Elohe Yaakov. Ha'el, Hagadol, Hagibor, Hadorah, El Elyon. Todah Yehovah Israel, Hayom Hazeh. Todah Yehovah Israel, Shabbat. Todah Yehovah Israel, HaKehilat, Shel Goshen. Todah Yehovah Israel, Horenu, Todah Avotenu. Todah Yehovah Ivotenu. Todah Yehovah Kulevanim Tobim. Anaku Protection, Kakabo, Halel, Yatam El Yam, the HCE. Atam El Kayam, Kayam. Todah Yehovah Kulevanim, Otamam. Israel, Ha-Izanu, Le'Ha'at, Le'Safatim. Bagam, Hadenek, Hatzadim. Most High, we come before you humbly to tell you, Torah Yah, for all things and for everything. Food, clothing, and shelter. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. One of the great lessons that we learn each and every day and each and every week. We thank you for even bringing us into a beautiful year, a new year. We thank you for bringing us into a new holy season. Thank you for bringing us into a season where we reflected on our exodus from the great lands of our captivity. Torah Yah, for allowing us to even have the opportunity to have a place like this to call your name, an institution that we can call our own. Torah Yah, for the leadership of this community. And we thank you for the leadership of all of our communities, not only in this land but throughout the world. We thank you for once again turning your people to their knowledge of self, whether they've been born in this way and whether they have picked it up and grasped it along the way. Torah Yah, for allowing us once again to even understand who you are these days and times, and we ask that you guide our families that don't know your name, so one day know your name and to do your laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of their ability. We thank you for the leaders that have passed, and we thank you for the leaders that are present, and we thank you for the leaders and teachers that will soon come. Wakashar Yehovah, we ask that you prepare us for the days to come so that we could prepare for your return, for our return to the land, not only to the land, but mentally to our history and our culture. We thank you once again, Most High, for allowing us to wake up to see another day, for allowing us to understand that you are king and you are king alone. Most High, we come before you humbly with you in our minds so that we could prosper in this land of our captivity. For the lesson that we learned today is that we can prosper in the land of our captivity as long as we are righteous. We ask that you guide our children, allow them to learn how to get closer to you and to watch the good examples and extract the good from their teachers and their leaders and their parents and leave the bad. We ask that you continuously allow us to evolve and become evolutionaries as opposed to revolutionaries so that we can continuously grow to learn who you are, to learn who we are, and to change the ways that we do for better. So that y'all once again for this place, and we ask that you continuously guide us and bring us into a beautiful Pesach. So that y'all for all things, so that y'all for everything. Hallelujah. 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 Praise the mighty Yah. Praise the mighty Yah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
We pay homage.
We pay homage
to the power of Abraham.
to the power of Abraham,
To the power of Yitzchak.
to the power of Yitzchak,
To the power of Israel.
to the power of Israel.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Praise the mighty Yah.
Praise.
Amen.
I was